product marketing.
Sorry, guys, I just started the recording. Yeah, go ahead.
No worries. Yeah. So I work with Parag. It has been a great partnership in the FinOps journey with Parag and Romeo. I'm just here to listen to him again.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. We have Guna. You have.
Yeah, this is Guna. Yeah, sorry, I joined a bit late. I'm calling in from Austin. I am kind of, in the AI space for some time. I just want to listen in, and especially I'm in the insurance industry, so I just want to listen in and see what's coming on the FinOps side.
Perfect. Thank you, Guna, for dialing in.
No problem. Thanks. Yeah.
I have Arvind in the. Arvind is done. Okay. Guna is done. Krishna.
Hey, sorry for the background noise. I'm actually walking around. So, yeah, I've been working as a distinguished architect for a long time and multiple areas, cloud, AI, as well as mobile and everything. But recently, yes, I had done some cost analysis because we got a sticker shocker from AWS. Our company, like BlackBerry, where I was working, they suddenly got like millions of dollars bills quarterly. So we had to do a lot of this analysis, but that was a spreadsheet based, and because a lot of streaming and kinesis and all those things were involved where we had to optimize. So I was curious if there are any better tools and better process that you guys are actually following, because the financial thing is something new to me.
Yeah. Thank you, Krishna. I think I'll talk to you personally offline. I think I need to touch base with you. You have a lot of stuff to share because you're working in the AI ML aspects at this point of time. Thank you, Krishna. Thanks everyone for joining. So I'm handing it over to Parag, who's going to walk us through the slides and he's going to talk about it.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, thanks, Parag. Go ahead.
So first of all, like if you think all of us, we come from the data center mindset to the cloud, and there is a fundamental difference between the data center and the cloud things. Because if you see in the data center, all the hosting and everything is done by the high level, and it is a fixed price mostly. It is not on the basis of the engineer who is working on the code or infrastructure or something. So in the cloud, if you see, we are empowering our engineers to provision the resources and control the costing. So it is very, very important to empower our engineers or all the resources who is working on the cloud. They will be responsible for the cost also. So this slide is saying the same thing, like now you can see the variable is changed. In the data center, it's mostly a fixed price, but now it's a variable price because it's based on your consumptions. The same is cable. So in the cloud, you need a 10 server. You don't need to be think, okay, I need to go and buy the HP new servers or the Dell new servers. You can provision within like 5 minutes or 10 minutes. With the help of Terraform, maybe it will be 2 or 3 minutes. So this is the main concept. Like we always think it's cloud is scalable, but again, like we need to be think about the costing also. Because in these days, if you are not optimize your cloud, it will be more expensive as compared to your data center. So this is one of the company challenges. Most of us, we work to migrate our applications from on-prem to cloud, and this is one of the challenges American is also faced. So one is like we moved the application to cloud just for the name's sake. It's happened actually. We didn't proper budgets and those things, and we are ending up, hey, we are spending more as compared to data center. But it was promised that cloud is cheaper as compared to data center. The same, like there's no total cost of ownership because it's a scalable. Everybody can provision the resources, but we don't know like who provision and what is critical and what is not critical. The same thing, like we are not effectively manage our costing also. Like when we saw the bill or the services or those things, we are saying, hey, we are paying that much on the VM services, but we don't need that many VMs. Who is accountable for all those things? The same is lack of architecting also, because in my scenario, not every application need to be on the cloud if you have a data center. So you need to be architect well, especially follow all those WAF architectures, so that you will be minimize all those costing. So it's finally end up with a projected overspend. If you see, most of us, like when we are doing the budgeting at the end of the year, when we saw we are over budget always, and it is very highly difficult to speak with the financial people to give the answer, like, because they will ask, hey, we spent $4 million in the data center, but in the cloud we are spending $6 million. How it's happened? There's nothing changing the business. So that's the end up with the company challenge.
So just to add, right, I think we can keep the conversation open. It's not like one way he speaks, and if you have any concern, question, or idea, please bring that so that it's more interactive for all of us, right? Even for people on Zoom as well, right? We want to keep it more like a dialogue flowing. So on the projected overspend, I don't know how many companies do support the overspending budget. First of all, getting the budget itself is a problem. And on top of that, if you're already calling it an overspend, is again a big deal. We deal with that every single day. It's not always enough budget at all. And maybe we should, look at it as an additional budget or something like that, but keep a buffer for the cloud application migration or the new implementation on the cloud for sure. Right? I don't know if you have any experience with the existing ones. We can share that as well.
Yeah. So we have a lot of scenario in this case. So one of the thing, like we thinking to move our VMware to the AVS, and we saw difficulties over there, and we end up with the fine-tune all those hosts and remove unnecessary things. So now we can proudly say, like, our cloud budget is always under. So
you said for VMware?
No, VMware to AVS. That's Azure VMware solutions.
Yeah. So you were going to move, but then you ended up just optimizing and staying with VMware.
Yep.
So can you repeat the question?
Yeah. So I was asking. You guys were on VMware, you wanted to go to Azure, and then you ended up paying more on Azure. So did you went to Azure and then you came back to VMware?
So we optimize the Azure based on because there's a lot of scenario where you can do the R. So what you can do the RI for your hosts, and we saw how many hosts we need. We don't need to be provision extra, and we see the performance. And what are the RIs we need to buy? We buy the RIs. Plus we work on the storage part also, buy the RI for the storage, and we make sure we move the VMs, which makes sense. Because if you have an on-prem VMware solution, you have tons of VMs. Maybe how the VMs, you don't know. So we did the screen test, and we moved the VMs only which is required.
So now your solution is both on VMware and Azure?
Yeah.
So some is on VMware.
Yeah.
And then you went to Azure, it was too expensive, so you optimized to bring it down.
Yeah. So our data center have third-party data centers also. So over there, it's a VMware, but the data center which is handled by the American, we moved to the Azure. So in our presence, we still have Azure, but that is handled by the third-party company, our outsourcing company. But the data center which is handled by us, it's moved to the Azure.
So, and you are going to stay with that because you found that with the optimum solution.
Yes.
Some on VMware and some on...
Both are the VMware actually. On behind the scene, both are the VMware because it's an Azure VMware solution.
Azure VMware, some are on Azure VMware, and some are on your privately managed data center.
Yes. Yep.
Kiran, this is Guna. So I don't know who's speaking though, because it's coming from you though. I have a question. Can I pop up?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I've done a couple of on-prem to cloud migrations. One of the very challenging thing when it comes to cost is more about the storage. When we talk about storage, the real question there is what's the volume are we talking? What's the transaction frequency are we talking? And what kind of storage are we talking? You see where I'm going with my question, right?
Yeah. So storage is one of the top spender for us also.
Right. So 1 minute. No, I was just giving a synopsis of where I was going. My question really is, I just want to understand, since you kind of split the solution between VMware and this thing makes sense. On the storage part of it, did you take a separate storage solution outside, or are you still stuck with Azure? Because typically in the market, S3 has a better price point than anybody else on storage. That's their news outside, right? So my question really is, what is the volume of storage are we talking about? And what kind of storage are we talking about? Is it images? It is audio, video, streaming? What are we talking about? And what's the quantum of processing that we are really looking at? Can you spell out something on that so it will give me an idea?
So our storage is not on the S3, it's on the Azure Blob storage.
Okay, Blob. Okay, good.
Yep. And if I talk about the VMware, so we have a mix-up of everything. So we don't have a video, or I don't think so we have any VMs which is that much need that much of CPU or memories like and those things. So we have services on the VMware. So we buy the store RIs, and also buy the node RIs based on. And since American is majorly on the Azure side, so we don't have much on the AWS right now.
Okay. So what I concur is that not much of image information or anything. So it's more transactional data that we are looking at, right?
Yes.
That's what I'm hearing, right?
Yes.
It's more transactional data, right?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, move forward.
Yeah. And there's a lot of tools also in the market, where you can optimize your storage also. One of the tool which comes in my mind is a Lucidity, which is a startup companies, and they have a really good solution on your storage.
Can you ping that on chat? I think I missed you on the audio a little bit when you spoke a little bit. I couldn't hear. I think I missed it. Can you ping that tool on that chat, please, if you don't mind? Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you. Appreciate your help. Thanks.
Yep.
Appreciate your help. Yep. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So this is so in 2022, I think we adopted a FinOps in American, and we comes with the idea we need to to control our cost if we need to be sustained, or if we need to be grow on the cloud side. So one of the FinOps, it's a culture, it's not a technology or something. So it will be create a culture within a company to maximize your business value, where is value on your business on the cloud. It will be create a financial accountability also, as I told, whoever is using the cloud, if I am logging in a portal.azure.com, and if I am provisioning a services, I am responsible for that accountable. It's not only your stakeholder or your architect or technical lead is the responsible for the cost. No. And also it will be enabled to the timely data driven. So it depends, it will be open for us also what makes sense to be moved on the cloud, and what technology we need to be take. And also with the help of the FinOps, our companies start talking about the cost savings using the other methods also. There's a lot of scenario where you will be spending on the logs, and we are looking, what are the other options we can adopt to control the logging costing, instead going straight forward to the log analytic workspace, which is one of the expensive services. And the same on the VMs, what are the VMs? So one of the practice which I want to be share with you, one is the right sizing. So every quarterly we are doing the right sizing of our VMs. We pull out the VMs and see, hey, what VMs need to be bring down or change the SKU to save the monies. The same like we are doing. Yeah.
So bring them down and what?
Change the SKUs. So let's say like a VM you provision with a D16S, and you see, hey, my utilization is not that much, so why you need a D16? Let's bring to D2 or D4 or something like that.
Sure.
And the same like we are seeing application services, idle application services, working with the business teams to consolidate the apps in the service plan and those things. So those practice we are coming after the FinOps because it's create a culture, and now everybody is talking about these things. Like we have a lot of meetings where we are auditing quarterly or those things.
Yeah.
So that's
Hey,
like yeah, go ahead.
This is Krishna. Sorry. I have a question regarding the example you said, right? Where you check the capacity of a machine versus usage and then suggest that, okay, this can be replaced, right? But is there a tools that you guys use to monitor this? Basically, as per this machine standard, this should be the baseline usage standard that it should be, so that you guys get a monthly report or something that usage versus machine costs, right? Or do you guys manually check currently for the auditing?
So you don't need a specific tool actually. Our two major CSP like Azure have an advisor where you can pull all those things, and I think AWS has a trusted advisor also where you can find underutilized VMs, and you can pull those VMs and they will be do the recommendations also. So it's in the cost management.
Yeah. Is that automated, or is it that do we have to go back? Because I had the question.
It's a kind of you need to be go and check on the advisor.
So it's not automatically, bringing it.
You can automate if you want. You can call on the API and you can call those.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah, there are tools. I think one of the Turbonite also where you can see.
Here we have our own solution. We built our own proprietary, but we also use a third-party solution called CodeStack. It's again like the way you were saying the startup ecosystem, right? So there are tools built by companies like CodeStack that has FinOps commercial version of the solution. Yeah,
It's called CodeStack. Okay.
yeah. And then we have our own Azure-based solution as well. But depending on what's the customer affinity to spend money on the FinOps solutions, there are some some heavy hitters, and then some we engage with our customers. We have our own solutions with that.
Okay. Thank you, Ashok.
So thank you. So this is the FinOps framework, how it's work. So it's have their principle like team needs to be collaborate. So to start with the FinOps culture, you need to be collaborate with your finance team, with your architect team, with your application team, and your cloud engineering team and the FinOps team. So it's an effort from the team. It's everybody will take the ownership of their cloud uses. So whatever the uses of you, it's you are the accountable, and you need to be control on those things. A centralized team will be drive. So as I speak, American has the centralized team, FinOps team. So we work with the different teams, application teams, to bring or to apply those FinOps culture. Reporting should be accessible. So as you are saying, CodeStack, and we are using Aptio actually for the FinOps tools. So it has to be accessible for everyone. it should not be like you need to be run this Python or PowerShell or other script and bring those things and then do. No. So you should be have some kind of a easy accessible for the reporting where a one click you can see your all the spending and you can see what are my top spender and where I can do. It will be decision are driven by the business value of the cloud. So whatever that makes sense on the clouds, it will be on the cloud. And also we need to find a solution each and every time where you can save, like looking the corner every time to save the money. One of the example, like we can say like one of our log analytics servers workspace, we saw we are spending something around, let's say $40,000 per month. And finally, our team works with the cross-funding team, and we saw they are logging the debug logs on the log analytic workspace. We work with them, and then we bring down that cost from 40,000 to 20,000 because they doesn't mean have any business value to save those debug logs. And also take the advantage of the variable cost model. So variable means whenever it's applied by the commitment, like the RI, saving plans, commitment, other things. So where you can save, let's say if you are using RI on a VM, if I'm talking about the Azure, you will be save up to 60%. As per the Microsoft also, our model is something we have around 60% is RI, 20% is our saving plans, and 20% we are running on the on demands because we need some kind of a buffer also. Commitment include your commitment for 3 years. It's kind of 80/80 plan. So yes, up to 60%. But again, it depends. If you buy an expensive SKU, you will be save more. If you buy a cheaper SKU, you will be save less. So they have FinOps have a persona also. So one is the FinOps practitioner, so like us. One is the executive. So this executive can be your sponsor also, where sponsoring your team. Business and the product owner, Arvind is with us, so he is our product owner. So you need a product owner for the direction and all those things. You need a finance and a procurement. So we are closely working with the finance to get the budgets, and also we are reporting back to them how we are spending and which application is spending how much, so that we can control all those costing and we can see where we are seeing the variance, and we are contact to the cross-funding application team to talk to the finance to get more budget, or they need to be bring down their use something. And one is the engineering and the operation. So that team is, you can say, at the part of the FinOps, or if you have a separate cloud engineering team where you can work to write up some automations or some kind of a tool or something where you need to present. The phases, the FinOps has a 3 phase. One is inform, optimize, and operate. So inform is the visibility where you will be see where I'm seeing the spending that will be comes under the inform. Optimize, how you can optimize that spend, what you can do. And the operate is the one which you have made, okay, I need to optimize how you can operate, how you can put the automation over there so that these things can be controlled. And there's a 3 maturity: crawl, walk, run. So crawl, when you start your FinOps culture, FinOps in a FinOps language, you will say you're crawling. And once you are walking, once you are start, I would say once you start inform and optimize and some kind of operate also, you will be start walking. And the operate, I would say when you start applying your all chargeback and your full on your optimize, that will becomes your underrun. So FinOps, in our say, we are saying we are between a walk and a run. Walk and run in the middle of those things. So in the domains, if I talk, it will be understanding all your cloud uses and the cost that I already said. It's saying the performance. So one of the FinOps culture is that you don't need to be compromised on the FinOps with performance, because you will be apply your web architect So your performance, your business value will be the top on those things. Real-time decision, since you have a centralized team with the combination of other teams, you can take a decision on the real time. Over the call we can check, because one of the executive is also in the part of the FinOps culture, so we take a real-time decision. You don't need to be wait for this. And cloud rate optimized. So what happened, like you can once you have a data, centralized data, let's say, you can negotiate with a CSP also on your uses. So one of the example I can give, like, let's say there's some outages happened in the Azure, and you are seeing, hey, there's some SLA missing. If you don't have a centralized team, the separate team needs to be talked to the Azure to get those credit back. And maybe like your service was affected, but it went to the other your DR location, and you didn't see any failure on your business side, but still there is a SLA fail on the Microsoft. So what FinOps team is doing, like we see all those things and make a consolidation and make sure we will be get all the credit back. Otherwise, like CSP is not going to say, hey, these are the application is affected and we are going to pay you back. And it's an organization alignment. So we have a lot of spaces where we socialize our things. So we have a CCOE meetings. In the CCOE, we have reserved 15 minutes for FinOps, and we discuss about those things. Separately, like we have a cloud custodian. So each application have a dedicated resource who works with us on the FinOps. So we are called him as a cloud custodian, and he works with us, and we like work together. And separately, like we have a EAT meeting also, which is a executive meeting where we are showing what is the wins we have done, where we need to be focused. And in the executive meetings, it will be all the executives. So we spread that, hey, you are overspent of that much, and these are the wins we have done, and that's how things.
The personas, do you have a group that considers cost when they are doing the technology evaluation?
Can you repeat the question, Sarati?
Is there a persona or a frameworks group, if you will, that specifically considers cost as part of your initial architecture solution?
Yes. So that's a FinOps. So we are doing all those things. So let's say like if you need a new application. So in our scenario, like if you need an application, you need an Archer or everything like application names or something. So before creating those things, you need to take a approval. One is from your architect, what will be the architect for that applications. One is your finance. So finance has to be approved that PR, like you have the budget or not. And third is the FinOps. So FinOps engineer will be, or FinOps manager or whatever, he will be ensure you have all the things lined up and let's fill up your things. So yeah.
Costs.
Yes.
As part of those
Yep.
solutions.
Yes.
And the tool that you mentioned earlier, the cloud stack, can you spell
Core stack using.
Okay. Does it help in this kind of evaluations?
So we are using FTO. FTO is a different tool. Yeah. So FTO is a bundle of a tool which have a cloud ability and TCO and everything. So that's help. Yeah. That's specially designed on the FinOps culture. So over there you can see everything like
Is that a cloud agnostic tool?
Yeah, cloud agnostic tool. Yeah.
Thank you.
So I have a question.
Yep.
Okay.
You are not allowed.
No. The thing is, like, we are talking about FinOps here, right? I just wanted to ask a basic question. I know American Airlines is doing this, and you are like, in the midst of it. So that's what you're able to share. Like, hey, I'm doing this with VMs. I'm moving stuff here and there. My question is, did you make a mistake and then learned on this, and then American Airlines created a FinOps team, or was there right off the bat they had FinOps team? Because not a lot of people know about this FinOps. That's why we are talking about it, right? We are all trying to spread the word and make people aware of it. And whenever I talk to other smaller enterprises also, they are like, what is FinOps? And then I was asking, how are you doing your billing? And they said like, oh, we have a finance team doing it. So are you comfortable in how much bill you're taking? They were like, no, I mean, we are like always over budgeting and we are spending too much money. We thought moving to cloud was a right way. And somebody was telling me the amount of data that has been put on the Google Cloud, GCP, when they put in, it was much easier, but somebody made a mistake and they actually they made a mistake in the code or something, and then it's not ingress, but it was egress. The data was flowing out back from Google Cloud into their on-prem, and Google actually sent them like $1 million plus bill, which they were not anticipating, right? Data was egress. It's not ingress. So most of the clouds, what you see is like the amount of money they charge you to actually get the data into cloud, they charge you less. But data out of the cloud, they charge much higher costs, right? So multiples of what you are. So basically, they'll tie you in to get in there, but they lock the door afterwards. You can't get out. So that's why a lot of people are doing the earlier question about the storage, right? Guna was asking. That's very important to figure out what is the best option. It's not like one-stop solution. It's not like I go with Azure and I get the best of it. It's a multi-hybrid, multi-cloud, hybrid solution is what I think. So coming back to my question. So were there mistakes made and then learned and then came back with the FinOps?
Yes. So that statement from the Microsoft. So last year I went to the EBC in Microsoft. So they are saying like American was paying the same amount what we are paying in 2022, and our infrastructure is more than 40%. So we grow our resources, but we are paying the same money what we are paying 2 years back. That statement from the Microsoft. So you can see like we made a lot of mistakes. Okay. And coming on those things like what you are saying, the egress and ingress. So that's the same thing we have also seen. So one of our logging solutions, we thought like, okay, we will go to a third-party tool, let's say Mesmo. So we are thinking, okay, we will be ship our logs from Log Analytics to that tool because Log Analytics is expensive. But when we are seeing like we are out, like when it's a egress, then it will charge more. So there's a couple of solutions. One is the LTU, which I will say LTU is the part of Azure, where you can purge your duplicate log, and it will be compress the data and then send it to your third party. So it will be, and LTU is in the Azure itself. So it will not charge you more. So there is some solution, yeah. But if you are not optimized, you will be end up with a lot of money. Yep.
Again, it's a FinOps operation.
Yeah, FinOps.
You guys would go ahead and say, don't do this.
Yes.
Then compress it and take it.
Yeah. Yes. So one of the good thing is that like when you are start doing the show back, so let's say you are the application owner and I'm saying, hey, you're spending $40,000 every month on your logs, then you will, okay, what I can do? Then I will help you and we both together work and we'll find the solutions. So it's kind of when you are accountable for the spending, you are taking the solutions also.
So these tools that you're using, do they allow you to give access to individual team leads or
yes,
managers?
Yep.
So everybody can see what
yes. Yes. So our tool is open for all the IT people. If you are the IT, you have the accessible for that tool and you can see your spending with the applications. Yep. Can you? No, next. Yep. So this is kind of a roadmap. You want to really apply a FinOps culture in your organization. So what can be a plan? So what our experience is saying, you need a sponsor. You need an executive to sponsor your team. Otherwise, like nobody will be take you serious.
Yeah, that was my question, right? So sponsorship is involved two things. One, from their big initiative.
Yeah.
And then let's say the FinOps team 3 people, 5 people, 10 people,
Yeah.
whatever. Your budget has to be justified by how much it's very easy to, it's a P&L. You can say, okay, my team costs 1.5 million, but we
Save.
at the end of the year we save you more.
Yep.
Or we did, and then somebody starts questioning.
Yep. So that's a research. So you need to be research and come with those things. Hey, we are overspending this much. If we work this direction, we can save money. So one of the key things is we are spending a lot of money on the cloud, and that's trigger to our stakeholders. Yeah, we need to be controlled somewhere. And we found a sponsor who is my VP, and we works under. So we have a sponsor as a VP level, and if you have a sponsor from a VP level, other VPs also will be work with you more effectively. The second is you will be create a plan, like when you are done, you will be how, what. So one of the planning, if I remember, is tagging. So for tagging is very important for FinOps culture. You have to be tag your resources. I would be probably say like American, we are 98% tagged in cloud, and we apply on the some of the policies also. So you cannot create a resource without a tagging. And if you, we also like control the tagging, like you that tagging, like there is a lot of scenario happened, and the application name has to be from your CMDB. It's not like test 1 2 3 or something like that. So the people, and also we have a put a self-service solution where it will be tagged based on your team and apply on the resources. So you need to be create a plan, and in the planning you need to be make sure you will be apply your all the tagging strategy and all those things. Then you need to be come with the KPI also. You need to be set your plan something. Okay, first year I'm going to be save that much of money, or that also of the RIs and those things. And then you need to be present to the stakeholders. So we had stakeholders, and we present all those solutions. And we spend, like as you say, we say, okay, if you spend that much of money, we will be saved X amount, and we come with that. And then we will be try with the agreement, whatever like approved, we will be come with. So if I talk about my FinOps team, so we are the combination of engineers, architects, and the project managers, and we have a finance people also in our team. Then you will be deploy the tools. So you need every time you need a deploy a FinOps tool, because your reporting is one of the key things. If you are presenting your solution to the application team, and if you are saying, okay, you need to be this store, then you will be see nobody will be like happy. So they need a one-click solution where they can see all those pending anomaly alerts, etc. And then you will be get the, so one of the thing, like we celebrate wins. So let's say you are my cloud custodian and you save X amount of things. So in our EAT meeting, we call up your name and we are celebrating the win. So it's encourage the people to involve and to work on those things. So we call out their name in the CCOE and every meetings. And based on the then we arrange some lunch, learn with the vendors and within the teams and all those things. And then it will be going to be steered to your drive the stakeholder engagement and recommended the course adjustment. So that's an ongoing thing, because so one of the thing is ongoing is our reserve instance, you can say, because you are keep growing and your RI need to be see every time like what are the recommendations are coming and those things. And same like your low hanging fruits like your orphan resources or your orphan disk and all those things. And then involve the tool and progress your KPI. So we are every year, I think every quarter we are increasing our KPIs. Like this quarter we need to be saved this much, and I probably say like we achieve all those KPIs till now. So this slide is from the FinOps itself.
Kiran, 1 minute. Kiran, you able to hear me, Kiran? It's Guna here.
Yep. Go back.
Can you go back to the previous slide, please? You spoke about tagging. Yeah, that's good. One of the very fundamental flaw, or rather saying a flaw, the pain point is that, when you have this cloud subscription model in the organization, what happens is that they take it at the organizational level, but the consumption of the cloud varies different with different business units with different people. That leads to leakage. You're able to follow me what I'm saying? So if I'm taking an Azure subscription from a company A, the company A has many business units, let's say B1, B2, B3, like that. Now within the B1, B2, B3, there are many applications and teams which will start consuming your components in the cloud. The final bill comes to to the company, right? The point that I'm driving this, one of the things that we learned at the start of this is that, number one, when we take subscription, we do not take it at the company level. We take it at the company plus the business unit level, number one. Number two, we came up with a framework, what we call the cloud usage standardization, meaning like the tagging that you said. For example, anybody cannot go and create the resources they need as they need. It needs to have a definitive process, like what you said. It needs to tie up to the CMDB. There needs to be a check gate there to kind of figure out what are we consuming or and what's our business outcome, and then there is a methodical process to drive that. Number three, while people may want to consume the resources as and when they want to do something, I think the architect group defines the processes in trying to understand, is this something that we need at this point in time? And is it tying to the technological roadmap of where the organization is leading? If you go back to your FinOps framework that you spoke, at the last point of it, you see organizational alignment, right? So the organizational alignment, I'm talking about from a technological alignment. From an organizational alignment, the architect groups define the technological alignment, and any group that needs in for the resources, they need to kind of present their case to this group then figures out and then go. I just wanted to ask one fundamental question. Tagging is one part, tying to CMDB. Any other thing on the standardization apart from this that you guys have done? I would like to know that.
Yeah, so actually you are just explaining what we are doing. So we have the same model, and also, like, if anybody wants to provision a resource on a news application, it has to be reviewed or it has to be approved from the finance, from the architect, and from the FinOps team. And based on those applications, so let's say like subscription of A has spent that much of amount and subscription B is that much of amount. So we have a centralized team like the FinOps. We are the one who is paying the bill to the Microsoft. So we have a visibility for all the resources which spend more, and we are doing the show back. And during the show back, we show to the executive, okay, how much on which application you are spending. Are you on, what is your variance like? Are you in the negative or the positive side? And apart for tagging, like one of the model of us, like we want to be we don't want to be resource to be so many tags. We want to minimize the tagging. And again, that tagging we have is lined up with our CMDB data. So from the application name itself, we can fetch all the information about the application owner or your technical architect, your VP and everything. And based on other standardization, like we have a weekly meeting with our cloud custodian. We have a CCOE meetings. And we are working, like we are regularly working with the business teams to make sure. And also, like on each month when we got the bill, we check the bill, we talk about those things with our cloud custodian and with the architects. And whatever the highest or most spender, we work to that thing. Like I just explained you one of the example of log analytic workspace that we found during our variance meeting. Okay, we are spending that much. So yeah, there's a lot of, not only the tagging is the one of the part to help us to codes.
I mean, I don't want to go deep now, but sometime I'll talk to Kiran. I'm more interested in understanding the cloud governance model. So everybody's jumping into it, but each organization have their own, like as we speak about data governance on the data side, there's also something called cloud governance. So I just would like to understand sometime if you have any material or anything, I'll take it offline. Okay.
Yeah, so we have a cloud governance team also. So our PO Arvind is the PO for the cloud governance also. So we are highly utilizing our Azure policies, control the cost as well as the security and the standards. So one of there's so many framework for the security, CIS benchmark and all those things. So yeah, we have a separate cloud governance team also. So whatever the policy we need to enforce to control, we work with. So we do have that.
Okay, so I'll get some info from you. Thanks, appreciate the help. Thanks.
So this is the explaining point, like whatever you see on those. Yep.
Between 2022 and 2024, what were your major learnings and what were the major improvements that you did to keep your costs consistent even with 40% infrastructure growth?
Yep.
What were the major hitters?
So there's a couple of things. One is we make some standards. So one of the standard is our RI. We are going to enable the RI on the shared mode. So it's not like RI will be work on one single application. It will be shared with all the subscriptions. So that's our standard. The other standards, we put the guardrails to provision a new services. So if you have to be provisioned, it has to be go through the right architect and your approvals, budget and everything. Third, we make the KPI. In our KPI, we have low-hanging fruits. So one of the thing which I can say, when you have a VM and you are deleting the VM, most of time what you do, you delete the compute, but you forget to deleting the disk. And disk is the major chunk of your spending. So we have automation in Azure Workbook, where we found what are the orphan disks, and we delete and we are make sure those are the deleting. The same thing is app service plan. Like when you delete an app service, it doesn't mean like you delete because your compute is still there. So there will be a lot of app service plan also which is orphaned and we can easily talk and delete. So those are the low hanging fruits. The same right sizing, we are start doing the right sizing on those things. Fourth, like we are not only leverage the Azure solution, we are actively the outside also where it makes sense. And one of our FinOps tool, Cloudability, helps us to control all those costing. And one of the major thing which we have done, we start doing the show back. So when you are doing okay in your executive meetings or in your CCO meeting or and you are saying, hey, these applications are spending more, you will be forced to work on those things. Yeah.
First one that you mentioned, the reserved instances and shared mode. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that? What does that exactly mean?
Yeah, sure. So when you buy the RI for the Azure, there is a 4 option which you can choose. One is shared, one is your single subscription, one is resource group, and the managed group. So it depends how you architect your cloud. So in our environment, our services is lined up with the subscription. So let's say like I buy a RI for the DS, whatever the series, and later I'm not utilizing that RI. Since it is a single mode, that means that RI is underutilized and I'm paying on other subscription, I'm paying the same VMs as on demand. So we want to make sure our RI has to be utilized over 90%. So it has to be shared and we actively monitor our RI utility. Shared in all the subscriptions within the tenant.
Just a time check. Actually, it's
So
it's
I can
52.
yeah, I can
So,
go.
yeah, we have lot more slides, so maybe if we
Yeah,
can.
go ahead. I mean, maybe jumping ahead in our question.
No.
Presenting your slide like this.
No. We have to be more like dialogue based. Otherwise, it becomes very boring. Right? So that's what I was suggesting. The only thing is like, I'm very confident about. I have to be confident about the timing, right? So 6:30.
You're the timekeeper.
I'm the timekeeper. So if you want to go beyond that, that's fine. But let's, I think, maybe around 8:10.
Yes. So
Yeah.
can you skip those 4 slides? So these 4 slides is the same, the roadmap, what we have discussed. So we will be share the slides with you all, and you can go from there. The next one. So I will go to the quick. So this is the one of the maturity level which you say crawl, walk, run, and those are the 3 phases: inform, optimize, and operate. So you can see on the crawling what included in the crawling. You will be see map the spending to the business, provide the timely spend, and you will be, or if you see all those things, you are just taking the reports and seeing where you're spending. So it's a starting point. In the walking, you will be start the show back or the charge back, and it's giving you the all the task which you need to be do. One of the identity of your anomalies. So one of the anomalies I will be. It has to be enabled in all the environment, I would say, because we experience these some of the spending which we don't expect, and we saw because we enable this anomaly and it comes to us, and we work with the Microsoft to get those credit back. And these are the all the tasks which we are looking, and also it will be segregated with the phases which you need to be do. So if you follow all those things, you can apply all those FinOps culture in your things. Yeah, you can skip that one also because it's the same thing. Yeah, it's more elaborate, like how you can do your understanding the cloud cost, what is the injection, allocation, reporting, and anomaly. So that comes under your usage and cost. One is the your business value. What are the business value comes under like planning, your budgeting, and your forecasting. So forecasting is one of the things which I would say like we need to be take forward. Like so one of the things which we are doing. Every month we are sending an automated email to all the business users who are overspent. If you are overspent more than $1,000, we forecasting that hey, you commit for X amount for a year and you spend that much, so you are over budget. So we are keep following all those forecasting and those things. You will be do the optimize your cloud, so you will be doing the workload optimization. So one of the tool which I'm saying like Lucidity, that's we are using for optimizing our storage. The same like for the compute we are using Granulate to optimize our CPU things. And you need to be work all go with the technologies. And let's say like now half of the world is using AKS or Kubernetes services, so we make sure you enable auto scaling and all those things. So those automation we are doing through the Azure workbook, which you have a nice dashboard. And the good thing with the Microsoft, you don't need to be right, it's there on their official website, where you can put all those workbooks and make some tweaks based on you.
Here has done a study between containerized applications versus serverless, and have they found any difference in cost between the two?
Obviously, serverless is it.
Just a study on containerized applications versus serverless, and what's the difference, if anyone has done?
So
Similar.
I have my own opinion. It might be differ from others, but what I have seen, what I have seen, serverless is much cheaper as compared to container.
utilize properly.
Yeah, so I can add something to that. Like we had that experience. So usually serverless is charged based on number of CPU hours and GB per second. So it's like basically how much memory and how much CPU take per second they calculate. Usually the per second rate will be much higher than dedicated instances. So if your serverless is very infrequently invoked, maybe a few times in a day and things like that, is cheaper. But if it is working at its peak, then you will see a large cost in the serverless compared to the dedicated instances.
Yeah, and also there's another point to look after that, right? I mean, for serverless versus VMware based or the containerized solutions, the amount of compute time, according to what Krishna is saying, right? The more amount of processing that you're actually putting on the, people think that, oh, I can actually start creating a Lambda function and everything will be taken care of, Azure function. But if it is like quick and easy, it's not going to do a lot of processing in there. You're better off to do it. Again, it all depends. It's very subjective. But as Krishna clearly pointed out, it depends on how much you're processing and also how much data, right?
So Krishna's experiences with heavy loads, he has found better utilization.
Yeah, so the Krishna, maybe you may better answer this.
I was just repeating what you mentioned, Krishna. I didn't hear that later part. So your experience is that with heavy loads, you found better utilization with dedicated instances. By dedicated instances, container.
Yeah, so what we did was basically we used instead, since our team were doing multiple projects, right? So instead we kept a dedicated cluster of nodes and used Kubernetes, and then let every team deploy within that cluster. So that way the nodes were efficiently used because it's used by multiple teams and multiple projects, right? And it's also straightforward. Serverless, usually if you start writing serverless, it's easy and cheaper at start, but then you're locking down very much to the cloud provider too, because serverless, you'll be using a lot of cloud specific technologies. Yeah, that's what.
Thank you.
Yeah, so people are using this the local on-prem Kubernetes implementation, and then do a lift and shift onto any of the cloud services that are available, like EKS on AWS and stuff like that. So depends, but again, people are finding ways to optimize it, and that will be one of the FinOps ground rules to say how my cluster can be saved, repurposed within the organization to save those instances.
Adding one more thing, like for the container, you have to make sure you have a well architect. Otherwise, what's happening? You will be see your most of cost is going on the idle resources.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a kind of an idea. It's not a hard and fast rule, but it's kind of an idea like what will be the team size for a FinOps. When you are doing a crawling, it will be at least 3%, but it's again depend like how much is big your environment and those things. That thing is given by the FinOps Foundation actually, and what they are assuming like what should be your team current size. Mine is different because we have the combination of engineering and the FinOps in a single team, so we have a much larger team. So it again depends how you want to adopt those practice. Yeah, these are the dedicated. So FinOps is a centralized team. Yeah, we are the dedicated one, but we are working with the other team as a single team, like with the finance and with the cloud custodian or the architects. But our team goal is only FinOps to apply all those culture. So that is also a top challenges like what is coming for the FinOps. So you can see like getting the engineer to take the action on the cost optimization. So if I'm a developer, I always want a high CPU. It doesn't matter it's required or not. So those are the top challenges which FinOps as a FinOps has given in the bracket down. So 30% of cost is because of the engineer doesn't take the action on those things. So 20% is enable the automation. So one of the example, like if I will say, hey, do one thing every week and shut down your non-prod servers, and we will be save the money. But if it's a manual process, nobody likes that. So you need to be, and you will be start losing those money. So you need to be put the automations somewhere so that it will be less headache for the application or a business. And 13% you will say the full allocation on the cloud spending. It's again the TCO things, the ownership and those things. And it's same you guys, I want to be more quick. No, you don't. So, okay. So 29% is accurate forecasting of the spending. So what we have seen in changes in our companies. So if I talk about 2022 budgeting, sorry, 2023 budgeting, application budget by themselves, and they put the things to the finance team, and finance team is saying okay, yes or no, whatever the X amount they ask. So what we have seen a changes in 2024 budget, the team is consulting with the FinOps team and asking, hey, this is my budget, what you are thinking. So we have a benchmark, okay, whatever the resources you have, you can add up 10% or 20%. And if you are considering a new services, what are the new services you are thinking? What are the architect? And they work with us to make sure they have a budget accurate. Because if you are overspending or less spending, it will be questionable. So let's say you budgeted for $70,000, but you are spending only $10,000. So again, it is a question from you, like, why you put those 60,000? Can we put it back onto the buckets or those things? So everybody wants to accurate those things. And one of the thing, maybe you guys are from the application, you will be do, and we, like some of our application team also made a mistake. So when they do the budget, they go with the conservative numbers, and they're thinking, okay, I will be use the RI and I will be to save of the 60% and those things. So don't do that. Always budget on your own demand, because you don't know whether you will get that RI or not. Again, it's a shared pool, if you get or not. And if you budget less number, it will be a question for you. So that's what we help the application team. Again, you can, if we will be by the RI, and we will show as a win, because we will say it's not a saving, it's a cost avoidance, and we will be do those things. And 22% you will be organization adoption on the FinOps. So again, your organization has to adopt all those cultures and make sure you have a sponsor and all those things, because you need a team, centralized team. Reducing waste is again the low-hanging fruit, which we have already discussed. Can you move to the next one?
Yeah, one thing quickly, Kiran, these numbers, are these benchmark numbers across some data collected, or are these recommended values? I just want to understand that.
So these numbers are given by the FinOps Foundation. So I believe these are the recommended numbers.
So these are benchmarks that they're talking about.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Just a quick question on the Aptio framework that you mentioned earlier. Does that facilitate the hybrid cloud cost reporting on a single dashboard? And does it consolidate the metrics?
Yes. So I would say all the FinOps tools, except the CSP. Even the CSP also, the CSP tool is also cloud agnostic. So our tool is agnostic with the multi or hybrid cloud. So you can add your on-prem, or you can add Azure or AWS in a single dashboard. Yes. Yep. So we have one of the KPIs is single pane of glass. So that view have all the information, okay, how much you spend on this much of amount on the cloud. So that cost include all the cloud cost, not only the Azure. So this is the FinOps community. If you are interested, they have a Slack channel, they have a Meetups event, they have a summit. FinOps X is the conference where I'm going next month. and it has a, if you go, it's kind of a culture, and if you go to the FinOps.org, you will be see all those information, and they are really helpful. Like, you will be connected with the community, and it's not like kind of a marketing or something. They have their list of the tools or the CSP, even like Microsoft or AWS is the part of the FinOps now. So this is the one of the.
Kiran, quickly one thing. Sorry, I mean, there's some good information coming in. I'm kind of relating with my practical experience and syncing up. Sorry about it. See, we use Apptio. In that community that you're talking about, Apptio is one of the very critical tool in the FinOps zone. Do you know where these guys are located, and are you talking about any specific framework on Apptio?
So Apptio is one of the FinOps tool. It's not owned by the FinOps organization. It is owned by the IBM.
No, I know. I'm using it, boss. I'm using it. I understand the story behind it. All I'm asking is that I see the content of FinOps. IBM is betting big on Apptio. It's a $6 billion buy. So I get that. So I'm just trying to understand with all the storyline that we're talking about, where is this Apptio fitting in? And when you talked about Summit, I'm just wanting to understand on the Apptio tool front, that do you see any flair for Apptio?
So Apptio for us is suited on the reporting, and also it will be creating a dashboard for our executives, and that is our data point also to work like what are the highly spender, which application, and all those things. So Apptio is one of the data point for us.
I think you didn't get my question. No, I get the tool. I'm a practitioner of that tool. My question is a little larger than that. When you talked about the summit, I'm asking, in the summit, is networking is one part. Okay? When you talk here, right, you have Slack there. You have other events, you have other things. You don't have products here. So my question really is, in the community, which are the prominent products on the FinOps that is getting flagged up and people are talking about it? I know Apptio is one. Any other tools like that? And if it is, what's the sensitivity around the products on the FinOps? That's all I'm trying to understand.
So one of other tool, I would say one of the KubeCost, if you heard, that is for the container, and that's also following your FinOps practice, KubeCost. And one of the other is OpenText.
OpenText, yeah, I've heard OpenText, yeah. Is that a FinOps tool, OpenText?
OpenText basically like more over the automation tool.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, it's not a fully FinOps tool, but you can say like Cloudability is capable for reporting, but not doing the automation. For automation, you need to be lined up with the OpenText or the Turbonix. So
Yeah, okay. I think we're running out of time. We'll catch up. I'm more interested to understand Apptio's competitors and other thing, because I'm practicing Apptio for the last 3 years, so that's big. Okay, we'll take it off right there. Move forward. Yeah, in more of time. Thanks.
Let's fire up the WhatsApp group with this discussion.
That's a big deal, Kiran. Apptio is a big boy in the game in FinOps.
So I think like we are out of time right now.
Yeah, I think we're 8:11, so I don't know if you guys like want to touch base on how AI ML cost workloads, and maybe we can wrap it up quickly on this.
Yeah, sure. So this is one of the hot topic for our ML and AI, and it is expensive resources. If we talk about like OpenAI or other things, what we have experienced, it's required a lot of compute. And when we are talking about the ML, we are always thinking about the process performance, not the costing. And also costing is the back seat, because the idea for the ML and AI, it has to be a performance-wise faster. So this is the one of the like I found one of the best practice which we can follow. But again, it's open, like it depends like how you are doing and what you are doing. So one of the thing, like I would say, like when you are doing the AI and ML, take one of the cost monitorings. So you will be monitor your cost every time and make sure. So one of the example we have seen, like we got an anomaly alert for one of the resource, and we contact to that guy. It's a part of ML. So and he say, yeah, he is not sure why it triggered that much of load or of logs, and they open a ticket with the Microsoft for the same issues, but they disable those things. But I'm happy, like we got those monitoring and we shut down that resource on timely. And the same, the resource optimize. So we enable anomaly alerts. So that trigger this resource has overspent as expected. So
yeah, I mean that's why the tagging aspect is.
Tagging is one of the things, right? You have to be
also the guardrails and also the alerts that are supposed to be there. If they are not there, what he's trying to emphasize is the amount of cost that you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even if you don't have tagging alerts, still the AI component is able to represent patterns.
Right, because they have the other guardrails, like where if they go beyond a certain threshold, they have yeah. Exactly. You can spend the cost limit.
So
basically the threshold on the billing itself, that's the top level item, and you have the resource level items at the bottom. So if all these guys are not, triggering off any alerts, you have a cost level item that will actually bump up everybody down, right? So they bring it down. So that's I mean, I can talk local because I'm doing a lot of research on the local aspect of it, like other things like local pipelines. From a cost perspective, I mean, Ashok gave me a task. Actually, he said like, hey, I have somebody did this. Can you do this kind of thing? So I ventured out on building a tool that will actually help with the. We'll talk about that later. But looking at the cost aspect. It is a little bit high, depends on the LLMs, the kinds of LLMs that you're using. For example, if you take AWS Titan, and then you have your VM running in there, and then it's a mix of things. Again, the optimization aspect need to be taken off from the basic, get-go. Otherwise, what would happen is if you want to run let's say 70 billion Llama 3 on a VM, that's like having 64 gig or 128 gig of RAM, your numbers are going to shoot up like crazy. And how much data that you're passing through, and if it's multimodal, if you have a multimodal open source code running in there.
Fancy the concept is.
Exactly. Associated cost is much higher. Exactly. So that's why we need to be very careful. So that is why he's trying to make sure. Yeah.
At corporate level, right? So we have also started looking at LLMs in our company, but especially every time we get close to it, what we realize is this is basically a money pit before you actually get anything value out of it, right? Having said that, have you seen, okay, now if this is our expenditure, this is our margin, whatever that may be, and we come out of it and we can actually add value, or at this point most of these are still R&Ds?
I would say it's more R&Ds at this point of time, right? And people are trying to find a solution that makes that saves money. They are in the anticipation of saving money, they are spending money, right? But in the long run, if you find the right mix of things, right? It's not going to go away, because direct to consumer, you can see a big impact where ChatGPT, all these guys are coming in, they're making a lot of money. But if you're bringing in the local Llama models and actually put it on your AWS, that actually has to have a little bit of iterative approach to be taken. I haven't seen specifically companies saying that I have spent or saved these many millions, except one company. Small startups are doing it. Yeah, not the enterprises.
Small startups because they have less data to work with?
I mean, they're eager to actually adapt. They're like the early adopters, right? I mean, they want to start off saying that, hey, I'm like doing AI, because why they do it? Because startups will get more money by saying that I'm actually, at the pinnacle of doing everything in AI, right? And people are pouring in money. If you look at Perplexity, the way they started it, I mean, Arvind Srinivas, if you listen to what he said, how he started the company, you will understand. He just tweeted somebody saying that I have this idea, I'm doing this. And they said, like, here is the check. So it's I mean, it's not as easy as I said, but I mean, that's how. Yeah, so basically, if you have a solution that actually clicks, it'll make more money, and they're not like looking at how much money you're saving, how many consumers you have, how much market presence you have, and all that stuff. But enterprises have an entirely different approach, right? They have to be cost effective. They have to be looking at what consumers need and all that stuff. So personally, to your question, I haven't seen the amount that we spend and the ROI on that being like really, really high. We are at the infant stages at this point of time. Everybody is still trying. Again, I cannot talk about Citi specifically, right? So there are other companies doing it, mostly startups at this time, right? There are companies that are already doing. I mean, if you look at Microsoft, they have a lot of solutions that will actually help you with the implementation of RAG systems, retrieval augmented generation, where they say like, oh, you get this solution, you'll be able to put all your documents, vectorize it, and you can start chatting with those documents, right? So the point I think Parag is, I mean, I was actually requesting him to make this particular FinOps is, FinOps is more important. Now AI/ML models are being utilized. Yeah, we'll have a separate session on RAG. I mean, if I continue, I'll take away this whole thing from Parag. I want to let him finish also. Yeah, I'm sidelining completely on that, so let him finish on that.
One of things for AI, what we have done, because once this thing is, everybody wants to do those AI, ML, if it makes sense or not. What American has done, we block the service so that we can control the cost. And if anybody wants, it will be comes and we will be put the exception over there so that we can control all those costs. And also one of my advice, don't go only with the CSP. We are doing one of the POC, which is a IDC. It's a Intel development cloud, where Intel is providing you all those high CPU and GPU on their space itself, and you can enable those AI/ML. And you don't need it there. It depends on your organization, how you contract with the Intel directly, and you can get over there. So you will be end up with the less money if you are directly working with
Oracle Cloud. Oracle is also very cost effective. Yeah.
And is it just for the AI?
IDC actually is very optimized for AI.
Yeah. Even GCP is also very optimized, and your IDC's Intel is basically created for AI. And so you will be see there is a one instance which I have seen that's a dedicated server only for your application and hosting in the Intel dataset, and it's a big one.
I think GCP is capturing the Azure. Actually, on the trend side, right? GCP is trying to capture the Azure market, So I think they're giving some free resources and other things. So.
Yep. And these are the same boring topic, resource optimization, the savings. Yeah, sure. So one of the visibility, it's the same. You need a detailed reporting, how much you are spending on what component. You should be enable the allocation and a chargeback, so that once, in my experience, whatever you have said, once you start charging back, they will be take it serious and they will be work on those things. And automated policies, one of the policy which we have applied to monitor the cost on the AI/ML services, and we put a total over there. Right now, it's just for information. If we spend that much of amount on Azure, it will be trigger an email for us, and we take the action up. And this is one of the best practice what you can do. It's auto scaling. You have to be enabled so that you will be at least you will be pay what you are using. And the same, the automatic policy, continuous optimizations, where you will be see the space you will be optimize. and flexible resourcing. That is the cost saving. It's the same visibility, optimization, forecasting, and accountability. So you have to be, your report has to be visible, easy to get those reports and those things. And again, like you will be correctly optimize your things and forecast, and make sure you have the accountable for the spending. Yeah, I think this covers. Okay. Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you for that.
Hey, thanks a lot, Parag. And I think it was a very informative session. I think. Thank you, Kiran, for arranging this as well. So.
Certainly, Guna. We
Thank
hope
you,
to.
Parag.
Yeah, you're saying?
No, I just said thank you.
Yeah, I was saying, okay, yeah. So no, what I was trying to say is it's really good. When you get into this practical discussions, it really goes beyond that time, but it's worth the time spent though, definitely, So it's the practical experience that matters. That's what we've seen in this discussion as well. Thank you so much for sharing that info, right? So.
Yeah, thank you very much for, staying on the call. Any last comments, Krishna or anybody on the call? Romal?
Oh yeah, thank you very much. Actually, I work with Parag every day, so lot to learn. And thank you, Parag, for presenting this with everybody. Actually, I joined the team and Parag helped me, giving all the knowledge and, getting up to speed. And thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you all. We'll share the slides and the recording later if you want to share it with others. Okay, thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Have a nice evening.
Yeah, bye.